Hello friends, it's me, Shin, and today I'm coming to you from the Fashionshow Mall where we're checking out the newly opened Emmitt Vegas. Super happy to have you along. Let's head on inside. Alright everyone, here we are seated at Emmitt Vegas. A very upscale and beautiful restaurant here. Classic wooden tones and marble tops. Really nice lighting and appropriately toned music. It's a very nice vibe in here. Now while it can be a beautiful restaurant, you know it's all about the food for me. Let's take a look at what they're offering, starting with the drink menu. And here is your beverage menu at Emmitt Vegas. Starting with some wines up top. Feel free to take a pause in the video if you would like to take a closer look at these beverages. Your rosés and reds. You have sake down here. Let me go and pop open the menu here. Looks like we have some signature cocktails. Let me see if we can get away from the glare here. So some signature cocktails, as well as the martini collection, and some tableside cocktails as well. And here's that list continued. This also includes beers and martinis, Manhattans, old fashions, and beers by the bottle. Very nice. And that is the drink menu here at Emmitt Vegas. Let's take a look at what they have to eat next. And here's your menu at Emmitt Vegas. Starting with your appetizers. Looks like a bread service at the top there. Some tuna tartare. Good looking soups. Very nice. Here's the shellfish, the towers, and the caviar. Looks like a couple of pasta dishes here as well. Here are your salads and sushis. Yep, very nice. And flipping the menu over, this is where we're going to get in on all of those entrees. Here is the Wagyu and a logo tomahawk. All of their steaks here. Looks like various ways to get them, including toppings and sauces. Here are some of your main options, some additional entrees. Looks like some fish, some chicken, yeah, all sorts of proteins here at Emmitt Smith. And your list of sides as well. A pretty good looking steakhouse menu here at Emmitt Vegas, and I'm really looking forward to trying it out because you know how it goes in my videos. Every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay. So I'm going to get a nice variety and together we'll see what this restaurant's all about. Appetizers are coming up first. I'll see you in a little bit when they arrive. Cut that. Actually, the bread just got here. Let me start off with a little bit of bread service before we get to the rest. Now, while several steakhouses here in Las Vegas have complimentary bread service, it looks like Emmitt Vegas does not, and so I definitely wanted to still try because it's kind of a part of the steakhouse experience. This pull-apart roll is served alongside some butter. Got a nice little section here. Let's see how it tastes straight up first. You know, yeah, that's pretty good. This is a pretty dense roll. I think for this kind of a pull-apart bread, I would prefer it to be a little bit softer. That said, it actually does have a very nice, rich flavor. They've incorporated an appropriate amount of butter. The crust on the outside is nice, slightly nutty in flavor from the Maillard reaction in the bake, but I think ultimately the texture in the center leaves a lot to be desired. It's definitely not as airy as I would prefer this kind of bread to be. Now we'll go ahead and get some butter applied here, and we give this a shot. Oh yes, that's actually very good. A beautifully whipped airy butter here, where I thought the center of the bread was a little more dense. The airiness of this butter almost makes up for it. It's actually a beautifully salted butter. There's a lot of flavor here. And there's also some really nice olive oil in this butter, providing an additional rich layer. I'm certainly a fan of the butter, and it definitely ups the level of the bread. Alright, cool, so that's the bread service. I think I'm going to go and munch on this a little bit, but I don't want to fill up too much because you know we're going in on a ton of food today. I'll catch you in a little bit when the appetizers arrive. Welcome back everyone. Now my appetizers just got here and this is looking really good. Let me give you a view. I got some of their French onion soup as well as their Creole shrimp, their A5 strip loin Japanese Wagyu, as well as an Emmitt sushi roll. This is all looking really great. Let's give it a try. Now the first thing I'm looking forward to trying today is this A5 strip loin. You purchase it by the ounce. I don't know why and I decided to go with 2 ounces today. I probably could have just sufficed with 1. But it's presented to you with a charcoal grill And I guess it's really only my fault if I overcook it or undercook it here. But it really doesn't take much. You could just see all of that fat rendering off. And there's also some dipping salt. Let's see how this is. Okay, yeah, that's really good. It's truly melt in your mouth. You can tell with the amount of marbling in the strip loin that it's going to be incredibly buttery bite. And looks are not deceiving here, it's really rich. The addition of the salt really allows you to appreciate even more the flavors of the beef. Such a good appetizer, I really like this one. Now that was certainly a delicious way to start off the meal. Next, let's go in on the French onion soup. I've got a nice big spoonful here with a great cheese pull. Let's give it a taste. Yes, that's a very nice French onion soup. A beautifully deep and rich onion broth here. It's a very delicious base to the soup. You can tell that the onions have been cooking here for hours. So much of their natural sweetness released into the soup, and along with the flavor of the root vegetables, it's very aromatic and quite tasty. The Gruyere cheese is incredibly melty and rich, and the crouton on top has soaked up so much of that delicious broth. It makes for a very satisfying, spongy bite when you eat it. I will say the more I eat it, I do think it's a tad salty. And though that's kind of a signature of French onion soup, I think it might be ever so slightly overhanded. Not bad at all though, this is a very good cup of French onion soup. Next up, I'm going in on the Creole shrimp. 4 nice big plump shrimp served in this appetizer, and it looks beautifully deveined and clean. Let's give this a taste. Yeah, that's very tasty. Definitely some of the most plump and succulent shrimp I've had in a while. Well cooked with a nice firm texture here. I'm really liking the shrimp. The Creole cream sauce that the shrimp is served alongside is actually very good. A very appropriate and approachable amount of heat coming from some cayenne here. And some very nice smoky flavors coming from the paprika. It's a very well-seasoned sauce. I actually really like the amount of garlic in there, providing a nice aromatic bite to the overall flavors. I like this appetizer quite a bit. It's a good one. Alright everyone, and the last appetizer I'm trying today is the namesake Emmitt roll. Now this is tuna, salmon, hamachi, avocado, serranos, and eel sauce. Now I'm pretty sure I swore off Steakhouse sushi a handful of videos ago, but I thought I'd still give a nice look at the variety here, so here we go. Well, I definitely got some mixed feelings on this one. Now the quality of the fish is actually quite good. Nice bright but mild flavors from that fish. And with the introduction of the serrano heat, I'm actually able to distinguish the flavors between the salmon and the tuna. I can't actually say that I taste the distinction of the hamachi too well, but that part I certainly appreciate. The biggest issue here is the sushi rice. It's so sticky and gummy, and it's lacking just a little bit of vinegar. It's just not sushi rice at all. A good sushi roll is equal parts fish as well as the rice, and unfortunately half the equation just isn't mapping out here today. Alright everyone, now that does it for all of my appetizers today. I'm going to continue working through this and then we'll go in our first round of entrees. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. Welcome back everybody. Now my first round of entrees are here and this is looking great. Let me give you a view. I got their cedar plank salmon as well as their roasted redbird chicken breast, and I don't show off too many vegetarian options here on the channel, and so this is their chili roasted cauliflower. Also have a side of the onion strings here, and this is all looking really great. Let's give it a try. First up, we're trying the cedar plank salmon. At time of serving, they covered this in some kind of cream sauce, and this skin was ultra crispy as I cut into it. Let's give it a try. Yes, that's pretty good. An incredible cook on the fish, super crispy skin, and really moist salmon fish here. They've also somehow managed to get the salmon fish incredibly oily and rich. I imagine it's a lot of the fat from the skin that's rendered into it. Now, while the skin has a perfectly crispy texture, I will say the salt is a bit heavy-handed. It actually does have quite the salty aftertaste. Now, this cream sauce is actually much more of a beurre blanc sauce. It's rich and creamy, a nice amount of citrus in there for some brightness. I wouldn't say all that bad, a pretty good salmon dish here. Okie doke, next up we're trying their chicken. Now this is served alongside some kind of a brown jus. And a pretty good looking chicken here. Let's give it a shot. Okay, yes, that's very good. A really great cook on this chicken here. A perfectly crispy skin and soft, moist meat here in the center. Definitely one of the better cooked chicken dishes I've had in a while. They did a great job. Now I'm sensing a little bit of a theme here. I think they were a little heavy-handed with the salt when it comes to the aftertaste, because there's definitely a big hit of salinity there. That said, I'm a big fan of this jus. It's packed with a ton of flavor. It's incredibly savory with a bit of a tangy sweetness akin to a Worcestershire sauce, but there's a nice bright acidity in there, probably coming from some lemon, and a really delicious amount of garlic in that jus as well. I think just a tad less seasoning, this would be incredible chicken. Alrighty, and the last entree I'm trying from this first round is gonna be the cauliflower. Now I know I don't showcase too many vegetarian options here on the channel, and so I thought this would be a great opportunity to do so. And this cauliflower is served in a way that you can make little tacos out of them. I've got all the ingredients here, it looks pretty good, let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. The tortilla used here is nice and pliable, they've got a good grill on it, though I can't say it's imparting too much flavor here. The cauliflower is beautifully roasted. Not only does it have a very chewable soft texture, but a very smoky spice blend on the top is actually leading to a nice flavor. There's something like a very creamy avocado sauce here, giving a bit of a rich creaminess, akin to a guacamole without too much spice. A little bit of queso fresco here, providing a bit of a salty hit, and there's actually a very bright spice coming from this tomatillo salsa. There's a lot of brightness in there with some lime, and a very approachable heat level. Now ultimately I wouldn't say this is super satisfying as a meat eater, but if you're a vegetarian, I think the flavors here are pretty good. Alrighty, and the last bite I'm trying for this first round is gonna be some crispy onions. They offer you a pretty big bowl of these crispy onions here. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, those are fine. A very standard crispy onion string here has a nice light batter on the outside that's been very well seasoned, leaving the way for the nice nutty sweetness from those onions to really come through. Honestly, about as good as this recipe calls for, no complaints. And I'll try dipping it into what looks like a spicy aioli, and we'll give it a try. Oh, that's interesting. Now, it's not exactly a spicy aioli, but it certainly has the creaminess of one. There are elements of something like a sweet chili sauce in here. Definitely some heat, along with that sweet. I wouldn't be surprised if this is chipotle mayo with sweet chili sauce incorporated. I'm not entirely sure if I like it on these onion strings. While it's not a bad sauce, I guess I had something in my mind as I was looking at it. I am a visual eater, but I suppose the more and more I think about it, I do like the flavors. Genuinely not bad, I like this side. Alright my friends, now that's the first round of entrees I'm going in on today. I think I'm going to just take a couple more bites and then pack it all up to go because I'm going to do one more round. It's a steakhouse, we got to get some steak, right? I'll catch you in a little bit when it arrives. Welcome back everyone, now it's steak time and this is looking really great. Let me give you a view. Now I got their American Wagyu New York strip, along with a cold water lobster tail, and some skin on french fries as sides. I'm actually starting to get pretty full because I went in on all of the appetizers, but this is looking really great. Let's give it a try. First off, we're going in on the steak. Now, two of their steaks were featured, one a branded tomahawk, and the other a domestic New York Wagyu strip. And since I'm on my own today, I decided to just go in on their normal Wagyu strip. I asked for my New York strip cooked medium rare plus today. Definitely looks like they nailed the cook. Let's see how this tastes. Oh yeah, that's very good. A beautifully rich and moist steak here. It's actually surprising the amount of fat content for your New York strip because it's usually a bit of a leaner cut. It's been aged very well. It's incredibly tender, easy to cut through, and very delicious to eat. They've developed a really nice crust on the outside, providing a little bit of additional texture, and the steak in general has been seasoned very well. While I thought some of the dishes were a little heavy-handed with the salt, it's absolute perfection here. I'm typically not a huge fan of New York strips, but the one here in Emmitt's is quite good. I'm a fan of the steak. Now I also got an accompanying lobster tail, steak and lobster classic, right? Let's give this a shot. Yeah, you know what, not bad. Now unfortunately the texture of the lobster is fairly chewy here. It's a tad overdone. Now that said, I believe this lobster tail has been poached or brined in some kind of a rich liquid because there's definitely more depth of flavor here than just your standard lobster. The lobster does have a relatively mild sweet flavor, although I've definitely had better lobsters in my life. I wouldn't say it's a terrible lobster, I think it's just okay. Alright everyone, now the last bite I'm trying from this round of entrees is gonna be the fries. Steak frites is a classic combination as well, and so I thought this made an appropriate pairing. Let's see how these taste. Oh yeah, those are good French fries. A great fry job to these French fries. While I wouldn't call this the crispiest exterior, it certainly still does have a nice satisfying crunch to it. A very soft and pillowy potato center. In general, just a very solid fry job on those fries. The fries are seasoned very simply with just salt, but I think that's all you really want out of a steakhouse French fry. I don't think you need too many competing flavors here if you want to add it as a side to the steaks, because ultimately you really want those proteins to shine. I don't have any serious complaints, these are fine French fries. Alright everyone, now that's all of the food I'm trying today. I'm absolutely stuffed, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get some boxes and pack this all up to go. And it is going to be some time for desserts. Don't go anywhere, sweets are coming up next. Welcome back everyone, now it's time for some desserts. Let's take a look at what they have available for some sweets. Now here's your dessert menu at Emmitt's Vegas. A butter cake right up top. Oh, that sounds so inviting for me. You have your after dinner drinks as well as your dessert wines here. Looks great. Now if you watch the channel enough, you know I'm a huge fan of butter cakes, so I don't think it's gonna be too much of a surprise on what I order. For all of you at home, I'm gonna make that dessert appear right now. And here it is, the butter cake in Emmitt Vegas. It comes with a caramel sauce that they pour on top at your table, and definitely one of my favorite desserts as well. And this is looking really great on my spoon. Let's see how this is. Okay, yes, that's quite good. A beautifully moist and sweet butter cake here. I'm definitely satisfied when it comes to the recipe. A moist, spongy texture to that butter cake, and a ton of richness coming from the namesake butter. I really like the caramel here. It's got a beautiful nutty sweetness to it, and it has a very thick, viscous consistency, beautifully coating the entire dessert. The vanilla ice cream is smooth and sweet, and you definitely do get the distinct flavors of vanilla in there, and it all comes together very well. I'm a fan of the butter cake here. Alright everyone, now that does it for my dinner here at Emmitt's Vegas. Now my dinner came out to $410 today before tip, and I certainly enjoyed my meal. I liked all of the appetizers, minus the sushi today, although that A5 strip loin was easily the best, and I probably should have just kept it to 1 ounce to be honest with you. I did like all of the entrees today, however that Wagyu New York strip was easily my favorite. Though New York strips typically rank the lowest when it comes to my tier of steak cuts, the domestic Wagyu New York strip here at Emmitt's is very good. And while not revolutionary, they absolutely nailed a wonderful butter cake recipe here. I really enjoyed that as well. There are a lot of really great steakhouses here on the Las Vegas Strip, and I think you can add Emmitt's Vegas to the list. Solid place here. Now that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Coming this Tuesday, I'm going to be returning to another local spot here in the Las Vegas Valley. I hope you'll return for it then. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed Vegas with me, Shin. Bye.